Ilona is friends with another friend of mine. So how have you been finding it? Ilona, how have you got on?
Well, I haven't tried anything yet. I've been just following and
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, just seeing where it goes, and
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, really.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, when people are just watching out of curiosity, that's all we would expect. I had another lady. Another lady I was speaking to last night, and she's like, "Yep, I've been trying the recipes. I'm really enjoying it." I was like, "Oh, she's really getting into it."
Yeah, the recipes look really like tasty. I've seen
the recipes are lovely.
Eat folder, but I haven't tried anything yet. So yeah.
Okay.
How is it going for you?
Oh, I love it. I love it. The first time I was on the 30 days, I was in a camper van in Australia. So it was a very different experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't really cooking any of the meals. I was keeping it really basic. I was having just really basic salads and like vegetable pastas and things like that. So this time I've just gone to town and I'm exercising, and so it's a completely different experience. So, yeah. I mean, it's worked both ways. You know, I haven't really had different results either way, to be honest. But for me, one of my personal goals was to get into the cooking, because we've been backpacking and I got out of cooking and I don't really love cooking. And
I know.
Yeah, but it's really reignited my passion for it. Like, I've actually been enjoying cooking and exactly. So I'm really chuffed with that. I'm really pleased. That was one of my goals, and it's worked. So
that's really good.
How about your children? Do they also join in, or how do you find the recipes? Like, are they suitable for children? And
yeah, we adapt them. So we just give them the bits that we know that they will like. So, you know, if we're making the taco salad, then we might give them, obviously they would like the tacos, and we'll give them the peppers and the mushrooms and the bits, and they go to like different things. So we do, but we kind of work with it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But we want to eat as a family, so we encourage to have the same meals, and the kids preparing the meals with us. So yeah, it's nice.
My kids are a bit older, Ilona. Mine are 13 and 16, and they eat meals fine. I just made sure I chose ones that I know that they would eat, but particularly a lot of the soups. I've just found that they've actually, in fact, I made one the other night that had chickpeas and lentils in the soup. And I must share that recipe, actually, and they loved it.
Okay.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not just restricted to the recipes that we provide. You know, if you find any recipes that fulfill the criteria, then share it on the page. You know, or if you get creative, share it on the page. You know, I'm just not that creative with cooking yet, so I'm having to stick to the recipe. Maybe in the next 30 days, that can be my next goal.
That's the problem I have. I think I'm always changing recipes. You know, I will read it and then I'm like, oh, good, I got it. And then I go and do it, and I just can't follow the recipe to a T. I have to add some, you know, some of my own. But it works out okay.
Yeah,
most of the times, I did have some of my own. Like, I always do a stir fry every week, and even with that, I could just, you know, I just got in a bit slack and just thrown in sauces from a jar or whatever. Back to basic chili, basic ginger, garlic, and then I just used tamari instead of soy sauce, and just little changes like that, you know. And it was just a small shift on what you're doing, but it's just cutting out all those preservatives of all those sauces that you're using, or whatever else they stick in there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just an extra 5 minutes.
You
know, do the garlic and the chili and everything.
Cooking from scratch is it's not as hard as people make it out to be, really. Well, maybe it's just because I've done it all my life, but you know, I've never been a fan of the sauces. If I was to use anything ready-made, it would be something like tinned tomatoes, for example, rather than chopping my own. But it's nice to just chuck it all in together and see the outcome, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It is. And to be honest, that's what it's reignited in me, because you think all these sauces and dressings and things are so complicated, and they're really not. They're not.
They usually aren't really.
And if you make it, you can make them and put them in a jar or a glass bottle and use them for the rest of the week or whatever. So, yeah.
I think the problem is that as people, and this is what happened to me, as you get busier, you're always looking for any shortcut. And so that was, I'm very unconsciously fallen into that trap.
Yeah.
It was just a case of, and this is what was good about it, it stopped me and it made me think about all the things I was putting in my food.
Yeah.
We were still eating really healthy food, a stir fry. But it was just those little things that I was doing around that to make it easier for me, that it was good to bring that to my awareness about what I was doing.
Yeah.
Jackie looks like you're in the evening, and Lina looks like she's in the day.
It's evening. Yeah, it's evening. Well, it's not as dark. I'm in a dark room. The room is painted red and black in here. And it's the only available room that nobody else is using, so I'm myself in here.
I'm just sitting by the window, and it's really, it's really bright.
Yeah. Lovely.
Maybe now, is it better now?
Okay, so should we move forward with the presentation?
Yes, please, because I'm being waited on for an evening walk with the boys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think my husband and my 2 children will come back quite soon from their evening walk, so actually start.
So let's see how we go.
Let's get underway. Look, I mean, I think you ladies, because you're already taking a look at the program, you know a lot of this stuff, but I think if you just think about the rest, taking yourself and whether you do this program out of it, there are a lot of people out there, who are really struggling with health issues. Heart disease is the biggest killer, and I think sometimes we don't realise that. Everyone's focused on cancers and everything, but a lot of people, heart disease is the biggest.
Hey, baby.
Ready to go now. So we do need to make sure we're doing things to make sure we are, looking after our heart, looking after all of our health, making sure, blood pressure, all those things under control.
Do you want us to go on mute, Sharon? Should you all go on mute while you're talking? Okay, so if all 3 of us go on mute, then Sharon can talk and we can listen.
All right,
If for some reason we need to, because we can record this and then send it on to you if we need to. So if we just, we'll all go on mute, and if we need to come off mute, Sharon will say, cool.
Okay. Let's try.
Yeah, okay.
The other really big one is, and a lot of feedback that I've had from people who've done the program are that they're cooking better, they're eating better, and their whole family's eating better, which is a really big thing, because there's a big concern now that our children's generation won't outlive their parents' generation because of childhood obesity and diabetes. So I think the really big thing for the majority of people is that they need to actually make sure they're, being a really good role model for their children with how they're cooking, how they're eating. That was something I was really conscious of as well. So when I get feedback that people say, I'm cooking better, eating better, my whole family's eating better, I get really excited about that, because it's making sure that, what it's like, those habits that you develop in childhood are the things that take you through life. So around food. So really, really important that kids are getting good messages early about their eating. As we all know, sugar is the major killer. So they reckon, we're eating about, on average, 1 to 1.5 kilos of added sugar every week. And the other really big thing is, and one of the ways I got into this was I was working with some people at a gym. A lot of people focus on their exercise. You see them working out, but only 20% really is from your genetics and exercise. The other 80% is from nutrition. So the people where I've been working with a gym where he's embraced the program and had people doing the program, all these people that have been at the gym trying to lose 5 kilos or whatever it is over the last however many years they've been there, by combining good nutrition with their exercise, they're getting awesome results. So we always say, you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. So that's where there's really exciting opportunities for personal trainers, people who are working with people who are focused on exercise, to actually improve their health as well. In fact, at that gym tonight, we've got, so I think there's sort of 3 points on that triangle. You've got your exercise, you've got nutrition, but mindset is a really big thing as well. So a lot of people, when they embark on, any sort of a health change, or whether that's exercise related or diet related, sometimes they can sabotage it with their self-talk. And in fact, I've got a couple of clients like that, where they really struggling with the messages that they're sending themselves, and so they actually really need to be working on their mindset and having some shifts there as well. So we've actually got a mindset and motivation workshop that's being run by some external facilitators as well. So we focus on all that sort of thing in the group by really trying to make sure that people are accountable. You sort of see that from the group, that there's always, things to try and motivate people and get them to stay on track, because that's a really big thing for a lot of people as well. They start things and they sometimes don't have the mental strength to keep it going. So part of what we're trying to do is to help them to change those habits as well. So the things that we focus on are trying to address some of the problems with our modern day diet. So we are overfed and undernourished. So eating a lot of empty carbohydrates. So lots of foods that fill you up but don't really give you a lot of nourishment. So, things like bread and pastas and rice crackers, kind of stodgy food that fill you up but they're not giving you much in terms of nutritional value, particularly, that those very average manufactured breads. And I guess this is the big one, is that 70% of our diet is made up of processed and convenience foods. You only need to take a look at the supermarket at how much things are changing. Everything, in the UK, I think you're actually more advanced than us, but, every time I go to the supermarket, there's always some sort of salad that's in a packet with a dressing already made, and you just kind of rip it open, chuck it in the bowl and squeeze on the salad, or meats are all pre-marinated. Everything is all made to be really super quick and easy, which is, meaning that we're adding lots of sodium, artificial colours, flavours, sweeteners, preservatives to our foods. And all those things are not good for our system. I guess the reason for that, though, is that we are a busy society. I know that's the trap I fell into. I'm a busy bum. And I was looking for things that were quick and easy. So so when we've designed this program, we have designed it with that in mind, trying to make sure that it is something that people can do without having it be too complicated. So we've actually got some people who are looking at the program at the moment who have done another variety. She's called Michelle Bridges over here. And when they took a look at our program, because they're in the group at the moment, they said this is so much easier to do than, having to weigh everything and measure everything and eat this at this time and not that. So we do try to make sure that it is a program that fits with busy people. Lots of people yo-yo diet and try all sorts of different fads, and I'll talk a bit more about that later. Typically, we don't focus on removing toxins. We don't detoxify, which, again, is a real big issue I'll talk about. More and more people are struggling with digestive issues, so things like celiac, irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, more and more autoimmune diseases, and that's all because they haven't got their gut health right. And just generally, a lot of people are struggling with lack of energy. One of the biggest things that people say when they talk to me about what they want to improve about their health, or, what could be better for them in their life, is that they want more energy. So I'll address all of those things and how the program addresses those as we go through. So I guess I'd just get you to have a bit of a think for yourself about, what it might be that you would love to improve about your health. Is it, have you got any gut health issues? Is it that you, have struggled? Doesn't look like many of you struggle with your weight, but, have you struggled with being able to maintain the weight that you'd love to be? Is it you want more energy? Do you want to sleep better? Are you focused on more getting back to making sure you're getting the right amount of nutrients in your body? Or is it that you're like me? I've always been really health conscious, big on exercise, but probably just fell into some, lazy habits, and detoxifying was a big thing for me. When I understood the effect that toxins have on your body. So that's a personal thing. So have a think about whether there's something in there that you really want to improve, and you can then see whether this program can actually help you to achieve that. So toxicity is a killer. So inflammation in the body, which is a result of toxicity, is the root of every single disease. So doctors actually use the analogy of a bathtub. So if you think of your body as a bathtub with water coming into that bathtub, so that's kind of all the things that we put into our body. So if we think that our body's a bathtub and there are toxins that come into our body through the foods that we eat, through what we put on our skin, through the environment, if those toxins are coming into our body at a faster rate than our body can get rid of them, eventually, like the bathtub, it's going to spill over, and it has an effect on all of our systems. So as I said, it's not just about what we eat. And this was another really big thing that I wasn't aware of before I heard of Arbonne. I didn't realise that 60% of what we put on our skin is absorbed into our bloodstream within 26 seconds. And I know, Jackie, we've had this conversation before that you're all over this. Every single skincare product that you're putting on your body contains preservatives, carcinogenic petrochemical byproducts, other chemicals that they put into that product to fill it out, to preserve the shelf life. And they say that women use between 7 and 37 different products a day. So, it's not just about what we eat, but we are looking at this as the whole person and all of the toxins that we're putting into and onto our body. So the way that we get rid of toxins from our body is our lungs through breath, our gastrointestinal tract through feces, our liver through blood, our kidneys through urine, and our skin through sweat. So that's the way that they go out. But often what happens is that they're not coming out as quick as they're going into the body. And what happens is that toxicity can wreak havoc on the body. It can be from simple things as feeling like you're not thinking clearly, maybe headaches, mild headaches that might just hang around, or it could be, extensive issues with headaches or migraines, depression, feeling moody. It could be unexplained tiredness, lethargy, gut issues, diarrhea, constipation. Reflux is a really big one that we find a lot of people struggle with. Things like leaky gut, celiac, colitis, all those autoimmune deficiencies are all a side effect of toxicity, as are problems with sinus, breathing, asthma. I actually was at a nutrition presentation the other night, and the woman actually gave an example of, she was from the UK. Her daughter was on huge amounts of asthma medication. And in the end, they actually moved to Australia in the hope that the environment might improve this little girl's asthma. But in the end, what it was about actually getting her diet and her gut health right and supplementing. And she actually ended up, after 5 months, being able to go off her asthma medication, which was incredible. Same with things like eczema. Those things actually can be fixed by getting gut health right. Things like, arthritis, muscle pain, joint pain, all of those things are a result of toxicity and inflammation in the body. Metabolism issues and a lot of skin issues as well can be sorted out by getting rid of toxins and getting gut health right. I guess if there's anything on there that you particularly are struggling with, we can chat with you separately about that later if you'd like to. So this is always the big gem that I give people, and I think this does explain a lot of things for people who have struggled with yo-yo dieting and why they struggle with that. So what happens is, as you can see from this picture here, so if someone decides that they do want to lose weight, so they obviously go on some sort of diet, or they, change their eating or whatever. Once you go on a diet, the fat cells actually open up and release toxins into the body. So as you can see here, the person's, they've lost some weight, but what's happened is they've got this increased toxic density going on in their body. And what happens is, body's really smart. It knows it needs to protect its major organs from the toxins. So it actually puts on extra fat cells called adipose tissue to kind of wrap up the toxins, keep them away from the major organs, and protect those. So what happens is you end up with this rebounding effect. And you may know people that, I know my mum was like this her whole life. She's always really struggled with yo-yo dieting. You might know other people who struggle with this. So as you can see from this picture, the cycle continues. What this program is about is called cellular cleansing, which is actually a process of actively making sure that you get rid of those toxins from the bloodstream so that you don't end up with that rebounding effect. Or if you're like me, you just want to actually get rid of that in your body because you just want to live, you know, the healthiest life that you possibly can. So when people don't have that toxic overload, they actually can maintain a healthy weight while living on an 80-20 rule, you know, eating chocolate if you feel like it, having a glass of wine if you feel like, eating out. Your body, when it doesn't have that toxic overload, can cope with small amounts of toxins and maintain that healthy body weight. So there's 5 key areas that this program has a look at. The first is about creating a healthy gut, because our gut is like our second brain. It is critical to our health, and they've found more and more research about the importance of the gut. So they say it can be either your river of life or your river of death, depending on what you're putting into your gut. So 85% of your immune system stems from your gut, and 70% of the serotonin that's responsible for your mood and happiness is actually made in your gut. So I have a lot of people say to me around week 2 of the program, when I check in and say, hey, going, how you feeling? You know, what are you struggling with? What changes have you noticed? A lot of people will say, I know this is going to sound really weird, but I actually feel happier. And it's not weird at all, because by getting that gut health right, it actually affects the mental health as well, which is awesome. And yeah, when the gut bacteria is out, it is linked to all those diseases which I've mentioned time and time again. So things like autoimmune disease, irritable bowel, celiacs, even things like autism and so on. In fact, they actually say that when they take gluten out of kids who struggle with autism, that they see it's like a 50% increase in the markers for, ADHD. So, you know, and that stat comes up a little bit more. So the gut is just so important, and we focus on making sure that we get that gut health right. The second one is about eating clean, and we're talking about this before we started the call, is that we do aim to get rid of foods in our body that we're eating that are acidic, allergenic, and also addictive, so that we're in control of what we eat, rather than feeling like we're craving something, we've got to eat that all the time. So we cut out things like refined sugars just for a period, so our body can reset and work out what it naturally needs. We do cut out processed foods, alcohol and coffee, as you would have seen from the group, which that can be a real issue for some people. And, you know, we're happy always to work with people with what they want. Like, you know, we've got people who are big coffee drinkers or big alcohol drinkers. Sometimes we need to just work out you know, how to cut that down for a period as they slowly make some change, because this is about progress, not perfection. And it's a little bit about what people want out of it. So you get some people who say, like Eva, who say, I'm doing this 100%, and that's what she likes. But there are other people where, you know, we don't want to stop someone on a health journey because, you know, they already drink 6 cups of coffee a day, and that would be a showstopper for them to doing all the other things. So we kind of work with people, but ideally what we're aiming to do is to cut out these sorts of foods as much as we can. Your vegetable oils, your gluten, and your dairy. So what we're trying to do is choose foods that as much as possible are organic. They're free of pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, your trans fats, your saturated fats, and basically anything artificial. And we're going to choose foods that are more alkaline than acidic, because foods that have an alkalizing effect on our body, if our body is an alkaline state, there's a lot of diseases and cancers can't actually live in an alkaline environment. So we're really trying to get our body to that state. And it's also low glycemic index, so you don't end up with those peaks and troughs and cravings throughout the day because your sugars are spiking. So why do we avoid gluten? So if you think about it, as mums, you know, we often make paper mache or Play-Doh or whatever. When you mix flour and water together, it actually makes glue. And over the last 100 years, the protein that they use in, you know, the wheat proteins and so on have changed, and our bodies haven't been able to catch up as to how to actually process that. So what happens is that glue kind of sticks on the intestinal wall. So I don't know how much you ladies know about how your intestines work, but do you guys know about the villi and that sort of thing in your intestines? Hands up, anyone? Maybe not so sure. A little bit. Well, just quickly, we've got these little pockets that hold these little villi. They're like little feelers, and they're in our gut, and their job is to basically, you like my little hand signals, Sam? Their job is basically to get the nutrients from the food and take it into our bloodstream. So they're in these little pockets. So what happens is that this glue kind of ends up acting like a layer on our, the flour and water acts like a glue on our intestinal wall, and it kind of builds up over time, and it stops those the villi from getting the nutrients that it needs from the food. So what happens is, because our body is seeking those nutrients, the pockets that hold those villi actually get bigger to allow the nutrients to get through. But what also happens is that other unbroken down proteins that you don't want in your bloodstream also get through. And that's where you often hear about people who've got what they call leaky gut. So leaky gut is really where you've just got toxins floating around in your bloodstream, or proteins, sorry, that haven't been broken down in the normal digestive process. So that then can cause inflammation in the body, and can either, so if you've got arthritis, for example, and you've got all these other unbroken down proteins getting into your bloodstream, it's going to make it worse because of inflammation. So I actually had, in fact, the guy that owns the gym that I was talking about earlier, he's an ex-rugby player, played in the UK actually, and he, old rugby player, lots of injuries from, over the years with his shoulders and his knees. And 2 weeks into the program, he came to me and he said, could this program be helping my shoulder pain and my knee pain? He said, because I just don't have any pain. And I had a very similar conversation with a guy yesterday. He said he used to get out of bed and he'd ache and, sort of crawl his way out of bed and click, and his, everything hurt. And he's 3 weeks into the program, asked him how he's going, said he cannot believe how much better he's getting out of bed. So this program is about helping to reduce inflammation in the body, which will help people who are struggling with joint pain. There's that statistic I was telling you about in terms of the markers for ADHD and how much they improve by cutting gluten out of your diet. Interestingly, also the same with migraines. 70% went away on a totally gluten-free diet. The thing with gluten is we take it out of food, but it's also in lots of other products as well, because they use it as a thickener. So in skincare products, for example, they use gluten. So people who cut gluten out of their diet end up, when they get tested, still having traces of gluten in their system, because what happens is they're putting, products that contain gluten on their skin, and they're still showing traces of gluten when they're in a blood test, and people can't work out why. And it's actually because of the skincare products. So gluten is in everything. Why do we avoid dairy? Part of the reason for that is we're not really designed to drink another mammal's milk. So if you think about it, baby cows drink the milk from their mother, but they then, as adult cows, they eat grass. It does contribute to inflammation, which is something that we're trying to avoid. And again, remember, this is just for 30 days. The other really big reason is, if you think about breastfeeding mums, they're very careful about what they eat, because what they're eating gets through to the baby. And when you think about what they do to cows to fatten them up, pump them up with hormones and antibiotics and so on, that's all getting into our bloodstream as well. And even if you're choosing, really, really good milks, it does still contribute to inflammation regardless. And I'll talk a bit more about that when we get into the acidity and alkaline. So there's lots of other ways that you can get your calcium, and we make sure in the program that we've got all of that covered by making sure that with the foods that we eat, there's plenty of calcium as well. Okay, so the third thing is increasing nutrient intake. And look, this is often a really big thing for people, is just taking a look at how we're filling our plate. Mums often will end up changing how they cook to suit the kids. So, kids might love a big bowl of spaghetti bolognese, but if you actually think about what's on that plate, 50% of it's pasta, probably, 40% of it is, or maybe 60%, maybe 30 or 40% might be meat. You might throw in the odd carrot and bit of celery, but when you feed that around the family, it's not really how we should be filling our plate. So we take back and we get people to have a look at how they're filling their plate. So half the plate being, nutrient-rich plant-based foods, a quarter of the plate protein, 1/8 healthy fats, and 1/8 with carbohydrates. And we do supplement as well. So at this talk that this nutritionist was giving the other day, she said the World Health Organization have said that we need to eat we should be eating between 7 to 12 cups of fruits and vegetables a day. Now, I don't know about you guys, but there is absolutely no way I would be eating that. And part of the reason for that is, and this is actually from a competitor type supplement product, modern farming methods have depleted the soils, they ripen the foods quicker, they spray them, they stick them in cold storage. Unless you turn your back on the big department stores that sell fruit and veg and go to a farmer's market, we're so far on the back foot in that regard. So, there's an example there that shows you in 1966, 100 grams of beans would have given you 56 grams of calcium. In 1999, so 23 years later, the same serving of beans gives you 37 grams of calcium. So the nutrient values of foods are decreasing. And so, they're saying that supplementation is important. And talk to any nutritionist and they will tell you the same thing. You just can't eat enough food to give your body the nutrients that it needs, unfortunately, which is sad. The fourth thing is that we focus on balancing out blood sugar and our blood pH, and this is a really, really important one. So just quickly, for our body to work effectively, our blood pH needs to be at 7. So on this little scale here, this is neutral. So this is where it needs to be. Ideally, what we want is for it to be around 7.25 plus, because in what we call an alkaline environment, as I said earlier, a lot of diseases and cancers can't live there. So that's what we're aiming for, is to have our body up in this area so that, we can be healthy and perhaps present the onset of disease. So if our body is down here in the acidic area, every time we have a food that's acidic, our body has to find something within its own environment, vitamins and minerals that it needs to actually bring it back to at least neutral. So in the example that I used before when we were talking about milk, just before I say that, it's not about the acidity of the food. It's actually about the effect that the food has on the body. So lemons, limes, apple cider vinegars are all highly acidic foods, but they actually have an alkalizing effect on the body. Something like milk you wouldn't think milk is acidic when you drink it, but it actually has an acidic effect on our body. So does dairy. So those things are sort of sitting around here. So what happens when we have milk is our body needs to actually try and neutralize the acid that's created in the body from milk. And what actually balances out that acid is calcium. So interesting, you drink milk to get your calcium, but what's happening is it's having an acidic effect on your body, and then your body needs to find calcium to actually neutralize the effect of the acid. And so the foods that I talked about earlier that we try and cut out from the program, in this far end of the spectrum, are things like artificial colours, flavours, sweeteners, coffee, alcohol, your processed sugars, your trans fats, your saturated fats. So what we're trying to do is, as much as possible, cut out foods that are on this side of the spectrum so that our body can be neutral to alkaline, so that we can try and prevent any sorts of diseases that we can. The other thing is that we try and make sure we balance out the blood sugar. So lots of people have, that sugar cravings, that 3 o'clock, I really need to pick me up. I know I used to have it before I'd go on the kid pickup in the afternoon. I thought, just need something to get me through the afternoon, and I was often looking for something sweet. So we make sure that we balance out those blood sugars, because diabetes is a growing problem as well, but it's also about making sure that our body is functioning as effectively as it can, because both blood sugar and pH cause inflammation in our body. And again, we know, we've already talked about the effect of that. The other thing is exercise, mindfulness and sleep. So we do want to make sure that, people who are doing this are including some form of exercise if possible, even if it's something from as simple as walking to, whatever exercise. I always say to people, choose something you enjoy, because if you're trying to do something you don't enjoy, you won't keep doing it. And exercise is important because it does help with cleansing. It helps with our metabolism. And you know what it's like. Sometimes you feel too tired to exercise, but you always do it and you feel great because you've got that endorphin release. So we do try and encourage people to do exercise, and also, focus on your mindset, as I said earlier. so that, you know, you're giving yourself the best chance of success, and also focusing on sleep. So it is a holistic program that's looking at our health. So what you've already had a look at the program, so you probably know a lot of this, so I'll probably cut it down to what I'd normally talk about. You can see that it's not about rapid weight loss from the people that are in the program and what they're getting. It's about looking at the foods that we're eating, making sure that we are putting all those clean whole foods in. It's about getting rid of toxins, cleansing out our elimination organs, getting our metabolism right. That can be a really big thing that women struggle with, particularly if you've had children. And as we get older, is that our metabolism does start to slow down, and it needs sometimes a bit of a kickstart and a reset. It helps a lot of people reduce food cravings. The changes that people make to their eating habits after this program are incredible. I was a 2 coffee a day drinker. I have had 1 coffee the whole year because I've just lost the craving for it. Big ones with sweets as well. People will often say just don't crave lollies and chocolates and things. Still enjoy it from time to time, but don't have that real craving where they feel like they've got to have it. And it's really about creating new daily habits. So just, Jackie, we've already previously talked about Arbonne, but Ilona, Arbonne is all about pure, safe, beneficial products. It's about getting rid of all the artificials out of the nutrition products. Plus, we do have skincare products that don't contain any of the chemicals and things that I talked about earlier. So from a nutrition point, we're vegan certified, gluten-free, no dairy, soy, whey, no trans fats, nothing artificial. But it is basically just whole food that's crushed down to deliver what our body needs every day. So you guys are familiar with the products that are in there. So that we've got the protein shake. I'll be honest, I was always really anti-shake diets because I felt that it was a really unhealthy thing to do. I thought you eat food. The reason we have a shake is 2 things. One is that it actually gives your gut a chance to rest so it can heal itself. So remember we said that, you know, we're trying to get rid of all that yucky glue and sludge that's built up in our gut. You know, every time we eat, our gut is working to process all that food. What we want to do is give our gut the chance to have a bit of a rest so it can repair itself. So this is a really nice, easy, bioavailable way to give our body some vitamins, 20 grams of vegan protein, which is a lot easier to digest than a lot of the other, you know, if you have ever looked at other shakes on the market, they usually use soy or whey, which we actually don't use in our program because they are acidic. And yeah, so that's why we have a shake. So it's giving our gut a rest, but it's also, as I said earlier, you know, I struggled with, you know, some lazy habits, and to me, I'm really bad at lunchtime. I've made my kids healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. At lunchtime, I don't feel like turning around and just making a meal for myself. So for me, I used to skip lunch. I'd grab a muesli bar. Wasn't really going, you know, having really unhealthy food, but it wasn't really nutritious. So for me, being able to make a shake is such a quick and easy way. And I used to find so many people who either don't have breakfast or might just have a couple of bits of toast. And this is such a great replacement for people who are doing that because they're looking for something that's quick and easy. They don't have time for breakfast. So this is why we do it. It's convenient, but it also gives our gut a rest. So giving lots of awesome nutrition. Digestion Plus is an amazing product which has got your prebiotics and your probiotics. So again, you can pop this in your shake, you can drink it separately, but again, that is all about helping to make sure the gut bacteria is healthy and supporting our digestive system. The Fibre Boost, so we put that into our shake, and this is the key to getting rid of toxins from our bloodstream. Because as I said, you know, you go on a diet or start any sort of change program, the fat cells open up and put those toxins into the bloodstream. If there's nothing to actually bind those toxins together and take them out of our bloodstream, they just continue to circulate. So this is a special fibre that's basically designed, it's like a sponge, and it moves through our body, it sucks up all those toxins and gets rid of them out of our body. It's really good because it's tasteless. So even if you mix it in some water, you can kind of get a slight sweet taste because it has got apple and citrus and beet as part of the ingredients in that. But most people just pop it into their shake. The Energy Fizz Sticks, these are our alternative to coffee. So these are amazing. These are alkaline forming. They come in citrus and pomegranate and give you a really, really good lift. You know, when you have a coffee, you'll sometimes get that real spike and then you'll feel a real crash. With these, you get a really nice gentle lift and you don't feel yourself coming off it. Lots of really great B vitamins, greens tea extract, chromium, which helps to balance your blood sugar, and riboflavin, which is really good because it actually helps your body metabolize its own carbohydrates, fats and proteins to provide energy. So this is what we use to help people who might drink soda or energy drinks or coffee that are looking for that extra bit of energy. We've got our herbal tea, which I'm drinking here, which has got 9 different botanicals, which are really good for supporting our kidney and our liver for detoxification. So you can just drink that hot or cold. So in the summer, it's really nice to actually have that as an iced tea. And I always had a coffee at 10:30 and 3 o'clock. I now have my coffee, and actually, because I had my tea, I still like to have a warm drink, and I pop my fizz stick into my tea, and that then gives me my energy boost. We have our greens balance, which is our supplement. So that's giving you 37 different fruits and veggies a day. I tell you what, when I was traveling around New Zealand, I took this, and both my husband and I never thought we'd do this program with me. He did it in February. He's addicted to the shakes now. So he said, you're going to bring all the stuff to New Zealand. So I had my protein, my shakes, my greens, and every morning we'd still have one, because sometimes when you're out, when you're traveling, it's really hard to actually pick up, super healthy meals. So we took that and it was fantastic. I can't live without it now. But yeah, again, this is alkalizing, and it's a really, really basically just all dried down whole foods that are absorbed super quickly, really help with your energy levels, but they're also alkalizing as well. So you'll know that we're into our 7-day cleanse on the program at the moment. So again, this is just another way of helping get rid of those toxins from our bloodstream, making sure our bowel is working really well and nice and healthy. And it's interesting, Sam's mum's done the program already once before, and she was looking to lose weight, had started to plateau, did the cleanse this week and lost another, was it 5 pounds, Sam? Yeah. So, and we combine water with that as well. So it's just giving your body a really, really good flush out. So how it works, you guys have seen how it works in the program. We do still eat normal meals. So you can have 1 or 2 shakes a day with your fibre and your greens and your Digestion Plus. You've got your detox tea twice a day, your fizz sticks twice a day, and then you eat healthy snacks and healthy meals around that. You know that the meal plans are there, the recipes are there, you see people posting the pictures. So it's a very, very easy program to follow. I think you know about all of that, how we have the Facebook group, that's for accountability, for motivation and tips. And we do check in with people just to see how they're going every week, if there's anything they're struggling with and so on, to help them. So I call it clean eating for busy people. So, usually what happens is people do the 30-day program, and often people will love things that they're doing. So a lot of people will love the shake as something that they have for breakfast, or they get addicted to the fizz sticks and the tea. So it's not just we sort of do this and forget about it, but you then choose going forward, what products you want to use and incorporate as part of, healthy living, and going to that 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time we're eating, ideally along the program guidelines, and 20% of the time you're, enjoying those yummy things that you love. But interestingly, a lot of people will say that, things that they used to really love before the program, they won't, have as much once they've done the program. So it's £240 as a preferred client, which includes 2 bags of the protein mix, which will last, so that actually replaces 2 meals a day. So if you're just doing 1 meal a day, it'll last you for a couple of months. For 2 boxes of tea, your Digestion Plus, your Fibre Boost, and your you can either choose the greens balance or the body cleanse. And if you want the other one, you can also choose to have that on top of the package. So what we suggest when people are doing the program for the first time is that they include the body cleanse, and then they can then choose if they want to add the greens on top of that as well. this is just something that we often show people who, you know, who do sort of talk about the cost. We always say, you know, if you think wellness is expensive, you want to try illness, you know, you can end up spending a lot of money on medication. You know, I've got lots of people who say they struggle with reflux. We can really help them with this program. And, you know, just cutting out the cost of medication, your doctor's bills and so on, you know, and then it can obviously escalate. But, you know, it does actually work out to be quite a cost competitive way of getting really, really good nutrition every day. Oh, there's a lovely Sam. I mean, you guys have seen the results in the program. I'll just quickly flick through these. This lady really struggled with irritable bowel syndrome. It's eliminated her reflux and her IBS, so she doesn't have to actually take medication. Anytime you can get off medication is so awesome. So if you know anyone who's struggling with any of these sorts of issues, get them to have a chat to us, because honestly, that reflux and irritable bowel, we get awesome results. This is my lovely friend Judy from the gym. She's one of those ones that had just been at the gym working. In fact, she even looks better than that now. I saw her yesterday. It's helped her migraines. It's got her gut health right. She's lost probably 8 kilos by now. This is over time. It's not just a radical thing. Better eating habits. She's the one that said her whole family are eating much better. Naomi just, you know, struggled to lose those last few kilos. Always often felt bloated. You know, got rid of that bloating, feels just much happier. And again, using better eating principles. This couple here, Robert, actually had awesome results for his arthritic pain, blood pressure, and also cholesterol. Again, being able to, you obviously wouldn't do this without talking to your doctor, but you know, if people can get off medication, that's awesome. Oh, sorry, there are just some comments. You're very welcome to have a read of these if you'd like to take a look at this presentation. And here are just some before and afters. Just, I guess it's just showing you, often what happens is that because you're getting rid of that toxic fat that's, you know, held around your gut, your thighs, you know, backs of the arms, often people will lose a lot more in measurement than they do in weight, because it's just getting rid of all those toxins. Yeah, it's good for men too. So this is Graham from the gym. He had really good results with his blood pressure as well. So he's really happy. Yeah, so I guess that's a presentation. You know, it's really up to you whether you think this is something for you. If it's not, if you know anyone who any of that sort of stuff, this sort of thing might be helpful for, any of what I've talked about, you go, yes, I've got a friend who struggles with this. You know, we just love to give them the presentation. People often learn something, you know, about it, even if they don't go on with the program. I had one very old lady the other day who was looking at doing the program. I sat with her. In the end, she decided not to do it, but that I'd given her, you know, a kickstart that she needed to go along with the program. Interesting though, her chiropractor who referred her to me said that she'd said she's going to watch the program and then see. So she said, not right now, but you know, sometimes that change does take time for people. So I'll stop the share and then I'll just open it up. If you guys just want to unmute yourselves, if you've got any questions, we can take any questions that you've got. So can you see that little button down the bottom that says mute? If you just want to hit that. Here we go. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, a lot of useful information, and
well, that's good. That's what we always want to do, is share helpful information for people.
Yeah, I've seen Eva, you know, doing it, and she's really like feeling positive about it. So it's just a good thing for me to have someone really close and see how it goes for them before actually trying it out myself. But I just feel after the presentation, I just feel all the, you know, symptoms of toxic load in my body because I've been having headaches and just feeling tired all the time, especially in the I don't know, around 4 p.m. I just, you know, feel like I need a little nap. I'm not sure if this, you know, of course my children, they contribute to that as well, because I'm like a full-time mom. But
how old are your
I
children?
The older one is 4.5 and the younger one is 1.5.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'm not sure if this is a coincidence, but since moving to the UK, I've been feeling really like bad. The headaches have started, and just my eczema, like, it became much worse than before. We lived in Denmark before, and I'm not sure if this the pollution of air and maybe food is much worse, because Scandinavian countries are known as really like
Clean.
conscious about clean and conscious about what they eat, what kind of cosmetic they use, and so on. So I just felt a really big difference in a sense.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And nothing's really changed about the foods that you eat. It's maybe just getting them from a different country, or
it may be, but I think my eating habits became worse.
Right.
Like the food that's on offer in here is not as healthy as it was in Denmark, I would say so.
Yes.
So and in general, the lifestyle is much more, it's much more busy and much more hurried, and not so much time to actually stop and I don't know, think about it or make some conscious choices.
Yes.
So yeah,
look, it could be that there's a reset, and maybe looking at all the things that you're doing and how you're cooking and eating and so on might be enough to help with that. So
yeah,
have a think about it and see if you think it's something that you
yes, I will definitely
join us on the next
so the program is for one person, right?
Yeah. Sometimes what we do is, like, I've got one couple at the moment who are on it. They just bought one pack between them, and then 2 weeks later they've just reordered for the next the next round. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a shake for the morning meal, and then for the afternoon meal, and then for the for dinner you have like a normal meal, or you can actually decide yourself when you would prefer to have a shake? How does it look like during the day?
That's a really good question. So you've got that flexibility. So, like, sometimes Sam will have like a porridge that's within the guidelines that you've seen, probably pictures that she pops up of the porridge that she makes. You might have that for breakfast, you might have a shake for lunch, or you might I've got a guy who does shift work, and he gets home at 9:30 at night, so he'll often have his shake at night because he doesn't want to eat a big meal in his bed. So there is that flexibility but we do say have at least one shake a day. Sometimes people have two, and then eating within the guidelines. So I like the fact that it has got that flexibility for people. Really Sam, do you want to comment on that?
I don't really have much more to add to that, I suppose. I kind of toggle between the two. Mostly I just have one shake a day. In fact, I've done that the whole time. When we were in the camper van, there was a couple of times where I had two because I didn't have the right food that we'd bought, so I had a shake for dinner as well because I knew it was going to be better for me than whatever everyone else was eating. But this time around, obviously, we're different. I do try to keep it consistent though, because I think that is recommended, isn't it, Sharon? Sort of once you make it, actually Eva posted the other day, she did ask the question because she said, I don't want my big meal in the evening. I'd rather have a bigger meal at lunchtime and then a shake in the evening. Of course, that's fine. But once you make the decision, just to help your body as it's processing everything, to eat consistently at the same time really helps, I think. I noticed that anyway. So
Jackie, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask or add?
No, I mean, I watched the this is the presentation that was on the that's on YouTube, isn't it? So I kind of knew.
I just watched that.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm good. I haven't any questions really. I'm just trying to see how I can I don't know, incorporate it into my intuitive eating. Oh, sorry, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one thing I really want to carry on with, and I don't want to, you know, to get all the work I've been doing over the past few years undone. And to be quite honest, I feel really good. I feel that, you know, you tend to make better choices for your body if, you know, if you're doing something to benefit you mentally as well as, you know, in the long run. So yeah, I know people do struggle with things like sugar and stuff, but I don't feel like I do. Yeah, but maybe that was reset when I was pregnant, because, you know, I just went off sugar. I couldn't eat sugar at all, any sweet stuff, you know, and I've just been the same. You know, they will eat a lollipop and offer me a lollipop, and I'm like, a lick, and then that's it. Enough.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm in a good place, although the convenience is fantastic. So that would be what's drawing me to the urban plan of, you know, the nutrition side of it. It's mostly the convenience and, you know, just knowing that, oh yeah, I've managed to have a shake, so this and this and this are covered, because you want to, you know, to take better nutrition for your body rather than just, you know, eating for the sake of eating because you're hungry. Yeah. So
Jackie, I just wondered how I meant to ask you this actually, but do you mind me asking, like, on here? It's fine if you don't want to answer.
Yeah, go for it.
I just wondered how this program might undo the good work you're already doing. Like, what element of it do you think would undo it?
For me, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but for me, I know there is some restriction there.
Yeah.
And I've moved away from the whole restriction thing, because when I restrict, that's when I really want what it is that I'm trying to stay away from. Whereas with the intuitive eating that I've been doing, you know, I know people struggle with things like coffee. I have one coffee. I've not even had a coffee this year yet. Yeah. You know, I do like my tea. So, you know, the regular breakfast tea.
Yeah.
So I have one a day.
I love it.
So I'll have one a day, for example, but I don't feel bad about it because, and I can do without it, you know, and I can have a beer every now and again or a glass of wine. But it's not because I feel like, oh my God, I could do with a beer. Yeah. It's like, oh, there's beer in the fridge and I've forgotten to drink a beer, you know, over the past week I've wanted a beer, you know, I'll take advantage and drink a beer now, get me a beer now and enjoy it and just sit and enjoy that. So, you know, it's mostly I want to say prescriptive.
So do you think there's anything like on the plan that's restricted that you reach for consistently, like on a daily basis? Or would you say that everything that is restricted, you're really well balanced with anyway?
I do eat quite a fair bit of, you know, animal products, obviously.
The meat, you know, or the dairy?
Dairy, not so much. We actually use coconut milk, but I eat cheese and I eat butter, you know. Yeah. And I eat meat, but even though I eat meat, you know, we tend to choose the best meat that we can afford.
That's fine.
Know, as a family.
I eat meat.
So
yeah, Sharon eats meat as well.
Yeah, I know. It's not a vegan thing, but you know, so I don't know. I just feel for me it would be more a convenience rather than the restriction. And yes, we need to detoxify at some point, but I feel like I've gradually done that. I do have some weight to lose because, you know, I'm not moving as much as I should. That much I know. And that is...
Oh, sorry. You go.
That is my one biggest struggle, is movement. I'm not moving as much as, I'd like to. But when it comes to nutrition, I will eat whatever I want, whenever I want. And sometimes what I choose at that point, like crisps or whatever, isn't, is probably not on your allowed list,
But I just can't imagine from what you're saying that you would reach for a packet of crisps like on a daily basis or very often.
It's never on a daily basis.
No.
I could go weeks and weeks and weeks, and then I'm like, I could do with some crisps, and then we get a pack of crisps, and I'll have a few every now and again with a sandwich or whatever. And I eat sandwiches, obviously, bread and, regular porridge, even though, I don't think it's gluten-free. So the gluten thing.
Do you think the gluten would be the biggest?
It's not even an issue to me, because I don't know. I don't feel like it affects me. But I don't even eat that much bread. I will eat a sandwich every now and again. Let's say like 3 or 4 times a week, So it's not an everyday thing. But the convenience would definitely be good.
That's what, when I first started it, because I didn't ever need to lose weight, I actually didn't do the 30-day program. I just had a shake because it was convenient. And I just liked and so I put in the greens and the fibre. Yeah. And I just started drinking the tea and the fizz sticks, and I still was having coffee. I was just having them, and it was only in February that I did the program 100%. I've got a girl on my team, Rochelle, she's a nurse. She's lost 30 kilos over 12 months.
Fantastic.
Over 12 months.
Yeah.
Just started incorporating every day, but changed what she was doing. But she knew there was no way on the weekend she was giving up her champagne and her cheese. So she would have a shake for breakfast, whatever she wanted to do for lunch, or vice versa. And look, she did change her eating habits, obviously. Didn't go 100%, and that's a personal choice. Like when I did it in February, I did go 100% because I was ready to go 100%, and that's when I have cut out. I haven't had coffee and so on, and I'm fine with that. But when I did start initially, it was a convenience thing, and it was just thinking, well, this all makes sense to me. I can get rid of toxins. It's going to alkalize my body, but I've just made better changes over time. So that's why I said it's we don't want to say to someone, if you can't give something up, you can't get the benefit of these nutritional products. You just incorporate them as part of an already healthy diet. This is just for people who really want that kickstart. And a lot of people do need the discipline. That's and they need that accountability to really to make the changes they need to make long term. Otherwise, what happens is it's one of those fad things.
It's about making choices, isn't it? A lot of people just are on autopilot, aren't they?
And that's the biggest thing. It's the sustainable changes and new habits that people create in that 30 days, which is what means that the program gets. There's people that at the gym, they all did it back in February, and here we are in July, and they're still going really, really well, even though some of them have cut down on what they're doing. They're not being as strict. Their body's maintaining, and they've maintained the new habits, which is awesome.
I heard you mention mindset earlier, and it's all about mindset, isn't it? Like we have an expectation where a lot of people, and my friends do this a lot, will go out for dinner and they'll be like, oh, I'm being good, I'm not gonna eat dessert. And I'm thinking,
the language.
Eating dessert doesn't make you bad.
No. But in our society, the language is so good and bad.
The language is so good and bad, and it's like oh, I'm being bad, I'm eating dessert, I don't care. And the diets that people are on as well. People are on a diet and they do really well up until 6 p.m. and then suddenly they'll just binge on everything that they can put their hands on, because they've restricted throughout the day and they've kept that diary, and then evening comes and it's like all hell breaks loose because they're hungry. They don't feel sated. You know, and it's about feeling satisfied in whatever you eat, whatever choice you make. You know, if you feel truly satisfied, then you don't feel deprived enough to steal a piece of chocolate and say, oh my gosh, I was naughty, I had a piece of chocolate. You know? So there's that as well. I'm just it's a submarine. So yeah, it's just I need to get to that point where I know if I'm going to be promoting Arbonne, I would like to be able to promote it as part of the intuitive eating plan, so to speak. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought.
It's okay. I think Ilona needs to go as well.
I just wanted to ask how filling is the shake really? Do you feel hungry quite soon after having or?
So the meal replacement is designed to have enough calories in it to act as a full meal, so you shouldn't feel hungry after it.
Okay.
And actually, I've been meaning to say this. I keep forgetting to say it. So I made up some of the shakes that are in the recipes. But I feel too full. So when I'm doing that with my meal replacement, and then if I add in like a cucumber or berries or spinach or anything extra, I'm just like struggling to drink it. Because the meal replacement is designed to be a meal replacement, you know. So a lot of the shakes on the plan are the protein shakes, which have less calories. So it makes sense to to mix things in with that. But I really struggle to make all the fancy shakes because I find it too much.
So do you actually get recipes for shakes?
Sit down for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. And some of them actually, you know what I will do actually is what I do. This is the most common one that I make. I love the chocolate shake and I bung in my handful of berries because, you know, we can only have green apples and berries. And over here, let me tell you, in Valencia, I cannot get berries for love nor money. So I have to get them I know. So I have to get frozen. Exactly. I know. So I just bung. It's okay, yeah. I just bung them into the shake. But guess how much a bag of frozen berries is over here? For a tiny, like a 200-gram bag, it's €5.
Oh no! Daylight robbery.
It is. Anyway, so the point is that so you can get all the shake recipes, but I find them a little too filling with the.
I could do with some shake recipes. I mean, at the moment we're taking, we've got a subscription with Batch Organics. You know, Batch Organics?
No, don't know them.
Basically, the cupfuls of smoothies, frozen.
Okay.
So I'll just help myself to 1 or 2 of those in a day, depending on how I feel. You know.
Okay.
But yeah, these would probably be a really better, a good to supplement that as well. So if I have an Arbonne shake and, you know, it's just good to have a choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, to make it easy, you know, so, because sometimes, you know, you want to cook, but I don't know, like tonight, I don't think I'm going to be cooking. But, you know, I had a big lunch, so I'm happy to just take a smoothie out of the freezer, put it in the blender and drink that for dinner. I'm happy with that.
My favourite one. I put crushed ice and I then just fill that with a little bit more water than the amount of ice. I put frozen berries and a handful of almonds and the vanilla, and I make it really thick and like I eat it with a spoon. It's like
it's like an ice cream kind of milkshake. Yeah.
So nice.
For me, it's really the convenience and you know, right now I'm actually doing a little self-study course on intuitive eating. So I'd like to, you know, to put it in there as something that you can have as part of your repertoire. So, you know, you've got better choices, you know.
I would be I feel excited talking to you as well, Jackie, because I'm so intrigued with you you know, if you do decide to move forward, trying it and seeing how it complements intuitive eating.
I want it to do.
Honestly, I genuinely felt that with the cleanse and the detoxification, which is the cellular cleansing is the key to this plan, I genuinely, you know, I'm on board with the intuitive eating. And I think I said to you in my message last night, I felt way more intuitive off the back of this plan. I felt
Fantastic.
so in tune. And so I really, like, it would be just amazing to have your thoughts on it after doing it, and just seeing if you feel the same. Anyway.
I would love to. No, I would love to. I'm just not ready right now. I'm trying to make some money. But as soon as I'm ready, I'll definitely, you know, the more I think of it, the more I think it's a good thing to jump onto, you know, and, you know, because people need better choices. Easy as that. Yeah. You know, a lot of people feel so out of control, and we need to get people to know that they have a choice. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody can make you eat something if you don't want it. And if you feel your body does not need that, you're not going to pick it up. You'll make a better choice. So, So my biggest issue really is, you know, movement. And that's really what I need. And obviously, detox never did anybody harm, you know.
Exactly.
So I could do some more of that. So
Cool. Thanks for joining us both.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much,
Ilona.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think this little guy needs me. So.
Yeah. Okay, darling. Jackie, it's so lovely to see your face, and lovely to see you again, Ilona. As well.
Lovely to see you too.
Okay.
How often have you done the program? Like, do you do it twice a year, or how?
I'm gonna say bye-bye, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, so gorgeous. So we recommend that to get really good results, we go for maybe 3 or 4 times. Every 3 or 4 months. Mm-hmm. And as Sharon explained, when you're not following the program, then you do that 80-20 of that kind of health, really lovely, healthy eating with 20% of a little bit of, you know, a treat here and there, like you say, your coffee, your glass of wine, whatever. So the last time I did the program was back in March, I think it was. And then I just felt ready. Like, it's interesting. You kind of just think, I'm ready to jump on and do it again. You just kind of know, I think. Yeah. And it was interesting because I hadn't really thought, it's been like roughly 4 months since I last did it. I just thought, I really feel like doing the plan again, just to get me back on track. And I noticed that, as Sharon explained, the idea is that, you know, once you've done the cleanse, then when you go to the 80-20, obviously your body is processing all that food way more effectively. And I totally noticed that. I really noticed that. I hadn't, you know, even with having my treats or, you know, the stuff that you can eat sometimes, I didn't put on the weight like I did before, you know, and we were in Bali at the time, so I was having a few beers and things like that. And I just felt like my body was functioning better, you know. I did really notice that. So,
I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really tempting, and I think I would be ready. I'm not sure. It would be, of course, nice if my husband could join me. So to do it as a couple. I think I will see how it goes for
Eva.
For Eva and Martin, and then, you know, try to kind of, I will see what her feedback is about it, and
perfect.
We'll just give it a thought. The thing is that we're planning on going on holiday back to Lithuania, so I'm just thinking how, you know, how it would complicate the
I think there's always
it would be so convenient to do it while we are there. So I guess
I found it really convenient. I've just been in New Zealand for 2 weeks, so I've been running the program while I've been in New Zealand, and I just took my shakes, the greens and the fibre. I took everything in my case, and the shaker cups, and I'd make up a shake each night, put it in the fridge, and we just have it in the morning. And
what about what about dinner and cooking? I'm just not too sure how much time will we have for that.
And look, I mean, that's when it is hard. It is hard when you're traveling to get, you know, like, especially if you're not in places with, you know, really good eating, you know, places to eat that are going to give you really healthy options. So you just have to do the best that you can. Because it's one of those things that it's always something that gets people go, I'm not going to start because I've got a birthday party, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Sometimes it's just a case of starting and just, you know, but if you want to get the full benefits, it kind of is better to start and do it when you're at home, where you've got all your, you know, or you're more in control. If you're traveling and your mum's doing the cooking and she's not going to want to cook how you need her to cook, or, you know, you're just not going to be able to get that type of food where you're going. You know, if you want to do it, you know, obviously still it is healthy nutrition, so you can just incorporate it if you want to. You know, my husband was just eating burgers or whatever else they were eating when they were out, but he was having his shake every day and his tea, because he just thought, well, at least that way I'm getting one decent meal a day. Yeah, rather than just having toast for breakfast and then having, you know, burger for dinner. So that's the other way to look at it too. It's sort of, it can be just saying, I want to incorporate these products just as part of my healthy lifestyle and go on a journey. And then at a point in time when you're ready to do the 30-day program as a, you know, maybe a more strict thing, if you do want that full benefit of the cleansing and so on. Because I really do believe it could help with your headache and energy.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds actually like a good idea. Like, you know, incorporating it rather than starting on it.
Well, that's what I was saying. I would use the products for probably 8 months before I did the proper cleanse, so that I was really ready. Ready to give up the coffee, ready to give up the alcohol for that 30 days.
Yeah, I think the coffee would be the hardest for me. I'm not drinking. I'm just, you know, having 2 cups of coffee, I think. But it's like my go-to thing in the morning when I wake up.
And
it is just a habit. I know that it's, you know, it would get easier when I guess the body.
And you end up looking forward to your fizz stick and your tea. Like, I kid you not, the number of people. So there's one lady on there at the moment, and my mum is like a teapot. Let me tell you, Ilona, she drinks like 10 cups of tea a day, and exactly the same with my friend Lynn, and both of them have not even thought about it. Like, they really haven't. My mum even made a cup of tea a few weeks ago. She said she just thought, I'm going to have one, that's it. She took 2 sips and tipped it down the sink.
Yeah.
She doesn't want it.
I was the same with coffee. I had a cup of coffee. I had 1 cup of coffee this year because I thought, after 6 months, I thought, I'm just going to try one. Because, you know, when you go out for a coffee with someone, it's, I don't know, you know. I thought, I'm just going to try one and see. I'll have an almond milk latte. And I mean, I don't know whether it was the almond milk or the in the coffee that made me not, I just like, and I persisted through it. But honestly, I felt so sick for the rest of the day. I don't think I'll touch another coffee. I loved my coffee. My husband was drinking 3 triple shot coffees a day. He now 3 coffees a week. He only has a coffee after he rides, and he just has a little short black. And I never thought he would, you know, and he never thought he'd get a coffee either. So even on our holidays, you know, we'd normally, you know, we'd travel, we'd, you know, go grab a coffee. We'd just walk straight past, wouldn't have one. It was good. Save lots of money.
That's the thing as well to think about, isn't it? You know, when you're factoring in the cost, and it works out kind of £8 a day, but you think you spend easily £8 on like 1 coffee and a cake or whatever, you know, when you go out in Frome or whatever, you know. But yeah, so I think it's good to just have a, you know, go away, have a little think about it,
need to digest everything in my brain, and but I will definitely give it a thought. And I can already see from Eva, you know, it's a good example, and having someone else trying it.
Sure,
it's much
nice
easier to make a decision afterwards.
But let us know if you've got any questions at all. You know, if things come to mind, just message one of us or ask Eva and she can ask us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was lovely to
meet
see you.
It's lovely to see you too.
Okay. Hey, I'm coming back in September actually, and I might come to Eva's and
Oh,
hi. So yeah, we can
it'd be
meet.
nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah.
For how long are you coming?
Just for a couple of days actually. I'm heading back to, well, I'm going to Birmingham for a big conference, like an Arbonne conference. So I'm really going to be pumped. If I see you after that, I'm going to be like, woo, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, let's hook up if we can. It'd be so nice to see you.
Yeah, it would be really nice to see you. Looking forward to see you.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
All right then.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, go back to bed. Good night. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.